Hi, I am glad that you've joined us once again as we continue to dive deeper into 12 More Rules by Jordan Peterson. This is another second book that we are summarizing for you. As we said in part 1, we have already summarized 12 rules for life. So in this book, Peterson gives us 12 more rules to find that sweet spot between excessive order and excessive chaos. Well, if you've not listened to part 1, you need to go back and listen, because it is a foundation into what we are diving into in part 2. So let's begin part 2 by me giving you a quick bio of Jordan Peterson. Who is Jordan Peterson, the writer of this book, and some interesting facts that you should know about him, or maybe you've not known about him. So Jordan Peterson is a Canadian clinical psychologist, professor at the University of Toronto, and an author. He's also known for his popular self-help books, including the ones that I've just mentioned, The 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, and this one now, Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life. Peterson was born in Alberta, which is in Canada, in 1962. He received his Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science and Psychology from the University of Alberta in 1982, and his PhD in Clinical Psychology from McGill University in 1991. After completing his PhD, Peterson returned to the University of Alberta as a professor of psychology. He taught at the University of Alberta for 8 years before moving to Harvard University in 1998. So Peterson taught at Harvard for 2 years before returning to Canada in 2000 to become a professor of psychology at the University of Toronto. So Peterson has published over 100 scientific papers and articles, and he is the author of several books, including Maps of Meaning, 12 Rules for Life, and now Beyond Order. So Peterson is also a popular public speaker and podcaster. He has given lectures and interviews all over the world, and his podcast, the Jordan B. Peterson podcast, is one of the most popular podcasts in the world. Peterson is a well-known figure, but his work has resonated with so many people around the world. He's known for his insights into the human psychology, his emphasis on personal responsibility, and his belief in the importance of tradition and values. So if you never knew Jordan Peterson and who he is, there you have it. So does he qualify to teach you things on personal responsibility, finding order and chaos? Of course, yes. In fact, one of his rules is that in the first book, one of his rules says that assume, that is rule number 9, assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Assume that the person you are listening to might know something that you don't. So whether it is a child, somebody younger than you, never always despise them. Give them a listening ear, because that is a rule of life. Always assume that you can learn something that you did not know from another person who is talking or communicating to you. It's a rule in life, and because you'll also be listened to by another person who is older than you or even younger than you. So now let's go to the key takeaways and conclusions from Beyond Order by Jordan Peterson. What can we take away? What can we go home with after reading this book? What are some of the points that we should note? What are some of the things that we should now go ahead and think deeper about them, try to implement them in our lives, and what can we conclude about this book? Right? That's why these summaries that we give you at Bidanmeds are so important, because we break down that big book, those many pages, into points and chunks that you can have them in your notebook. See how we are doing great things to you. So because of that, like, share, subscribe, and tag a friend next time. You'll do us a great favor and a great blessing. We'll continue bringing these resources to much more people in a better way. Right now we don't have a good studio. Maybe that's why you might be noticing the sound was not so good. But with time, the most important thing is to get the content So by doing that, liking, subscribing, sharing, tagging friends, or even supporting us in whichever way that you might feel that can be of help to us, we will really appreciate. In the meantime, let's go to the key takeaways. What are some of the things that we can jot down in our notebooks? Or what are some of the things that we can go away with from this book, this big chunk of a book? What can we go home with? Number one, I have several of them, several takeaways. So chaos is inherent into our existence. Chaos is inherent into our existence. Order and chaos are not opposites, but two sides of the same coin. Progress and meaning arise from navigating the tension between them. Your progress and your meaning in life will always come from navigating the tension between order and chaos. They are inherent. You do not call for order or chaos. They are already inside you as a person. You'll always find chaos and order, whether you like it or not. So, your progress in life and your meaning in life, a fulfilling life, will always come from, get this, taking responsibility. That's a school of thought. That's the thought of Jordan Peterson, taking responsibility in your life. So if those two, order and chaos, are always inherent in our lives, we do not invite them, they'll always find time. They'll always find opportunities to come because they're inherent in us. So it is our work to be aware of ourselves, that is self-awareness, and to take responsibility to get out of the tensions between the two, because we might be in too excessive order and then fail to grow, to develop. That is why you also need to understand how you can instigate some chaos in your orderness. So there is always that tension between order and chaos, and that is why Jordan tells us that you should find a sweet spot between excessive order and excessive chaos. That sweet spot, that point of equilibrium, it's where growth, it's where development, it's where a life of meaning is hidden, right? So chaos and order are inherent. It is our work, it is our duty, it is always our responsibility to navigate the tension and find an equilibrium. Number two, responsibility is the antidote to chaos. And I've just explained that it is a responsibility of each and every person to come out of the tension, either chaos or order. Our work is to come into an equilibrium. So taking responsibility for your life, your thoughts, and your actions will always empower you to create order and find meaning in life. Number three, myth is the foundation of meaning. Myths provide narratives that help us to understand the world and our place in the world. Engaging with these narratives can offer guidance and purpose. So the stories that you tell yourself, so the narratives that you speak to yourself each day, they create your life. Myths, what we accept or what we don't accept, those are our myths, those are our narratives. They are the foundation of our meaning. If you think on that deeply, you'll come to realize that they are hidden in our thoughts and our habits. That is why I'm recommending As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's a book. As a Man Thinketh. Your life is hidden in your thoughts. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. We have that summary for you, both in as a write-up and as a recording, just like this one. So will you go ahead and check As a Man Thinketh for your own good, for your own future, for your own life? Yes, of course, I know you will. Remember I said that your life, the narratives that you have emanate from your thoughts and your habits. So your habit is also something that you need to check into, because habits are architects of our lives. not the willpower. We recently summarized a book by Gretchen Rubin. Gretchen Rubin, a book that is Better Than Before. She talks of our habits, not our willpower. You want to do something. You have that feeling and that desire. You feel that you have that energy to achieve whichever you want to achieve. Whether in fitness, in health, in your finances, you have that willpower. But many of the times, it's not the willpower that will guide you or take you to that destiny that you want. It's the habits that you develop over time. So that's why habit formation is also very key into achieving your goals and your dreams. So anything to do with your thoughts. I've given you one book. There's so many books. It's your liberty. It's at your liberty to choose whichever book that you want. But I'll always give you books that we've summarized so that they can speak to you in a better way. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Better Than Before. You can also check Atomic Habits. There's so many books on habit formation. If you got Better Than Before, I'll also have given you some other book recommendations on building your habits. Right? So let's go to key takeaway that we can go with. Number 4, individualism is essential for progress. So while social structures are important, individual responsibility and creativity are the driving forces behind advancement. Number 5, suffering is inevitable, but it is also always meaningful. So suffering is a natural part of life, but it can be a catalyst for growth and self-understanding. Number 6, the pursuit of truth is a noble endeavor. Engaging in honest inquiry about yourself, about the ideologies, what you believe in, even if it leads to uncomfortable truths, is essential for personal and societal progress. That's why we talked of the dangers of ideology. Do not always be rigid. There are things that you found in your family that you grew learning through nature and nurture. You should not always fit into them, and you have that curious mind. You should always question them, their rationale, because such a rigidity will always derail our progress personally and also in our societies. Number 7, religion offers valuable moral frameworks. Religion offers valuable moral frameworks. Religious traditions provide moral codes and ethical frameworks that can guide individuals and societies. Number 8, sacrifice is necessary for a meaningful life. That one is self-explanatory. Achieving your goals and contributing to something larger than yourself often will always require sacrifice. Nothing good comes easy. You will always have to sacrifice here and there. Number 9, the future is uncertain, but you can shape it. No one knows the future, but if you can shape it, if you can visualize it, and you can work towards it, you can predict it. The future is predictable. It is predictable by obedience to laws and rules and principles of life. If I take a maize seed and put it in my house that is on the tiles, I can predict the future of that seed. It will never grow into a maize plant. I can predict that. I can shape its future. But if I take the same seed, take it in the soil, add all the requirements, that is water, some manure, and water, that is all the things that are required for germination, I do not even need to worry. I do not even need to fast or pray. I do not even need any magic. I can predict the future of that seed. Will it grow? Yes. What was the difference between those two scenarios? One, I obeyed the laws, the principles of the seed. I just did that. And from that, I predicted. And of course, that is what I expect. So as much as the future is uncertain, we can shape it and we can predict it. So while the future cannot be certain, our choices and our actions have the power to influence its direction. Key takeaway number 10 is that you should always embrace the journey, not the destination. With this phrase that we always say, trust the process. That's very key. Life is a process of continuous learning and growth, which is always crucial to appreciate that journey rather than focusing on the destination. Well, you should always have the destination in your mind, but not always focused on it. As long as you trust the process and work the process, doing everything that you need to grow or to do, that destination will be achieved seamlessly, because you are doing everything that is supposed to be done, and the future that you want is predicted already, right? So those are 10 key takeaways that you can go home with, and I know they've spoken to you, and I know you feel inspired and rejuvenated to take your life to the next level. Well, I could have given you some a comparison of this book to other books on the same subject, but I can still do that very quick, because I want us to go to something else before our time is behind us. So why don't I give you some comparison between this book and others? This book can be compared to other self-help books on the same subject of living a meaningful and fulfilling life, because it offers practical advice and guidance. However, this book is unique among those books that I'm about to give you on the emphasis of the importance of finding a balance between order and chaos in our lives. Peterson argues that both order and chaos are essential parts of reality, and that they are the keys to living a good life, and finding that sweet spot is the way to a fulfilling life. So other books which focus on the same subject of finding meaning and significance in life includes Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. We still have that summary with us. The Flow by Mihaly. Another book is The Happiness Advantage by Sean. Another one is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen, and Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. So those are 5 books which we can compare. There are so many books that you can compare to this one, but for the purposes of this summary, it's a summary, and for the purposes of time, we've just given you 5. Man's Search for Meaning, and I've said we have that summary. The Flow by Mihaly. In the meantime, we don't have the summary. The Happiness Advantage, we don't have the summary. The 7 Habits, we have the summary for you, and we also have Daring Greatly. Well, these books, all of the books that I've mentioned, they offer valuable insights and advice, but they differ in their specific focus and approach. For example, Man's Search for Meaning is more focused on finding meaning in the face of suffering, while Flow is more focused on finding fulfillment through immersion in challenging and rewarding activities. Beyond Order is most similar to Man's Search for Meaning on its emphasis on the importance of finding meaning in life. However, Beyond Order is more focused on the practical aspects of living a meaningful life, while Man's Search for Meaning is more focused on philosophical and psychological aspects. So you can have much more about those comparisons from our write-up summary, vidanmeds.com/blogs. Then you can search Beyond Order, synopsis or summary of Beyond Order. We also have the link of the same write-up in our description. You'll also go and check on the target audience. I began by telling you who this book appeals to, because I like doing that they don't waste your time, and probably that is not the stage of life that you want, or the concept in life that you want to learn. So that's why I always begin with that. So you can check in part 1 what I talked more about, or you can look at our write-up. Then we'll also look at reception, the positive and negative reviews and criticisms of this book. We'll also have to look at that personally. I don't have to go through everything. I also have my personal thoughts about the book, but that's beyond the scope of this summary. That one does not matter so much, because I'm just giving you a summary. But before I give you specific ways on how we can apply the lessons that we learn from this book in real life, let me begin by giving you recommendations for other books on the same subject or on the same topic, similar to the comparison. Remember, I've given you the comparison. Now I want to give you recommendations for other books on the same subject. So if you want similar books to Jordan Peterson, Beyond Order, you can look for The 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos by Jordan Peterson still. That is the first book in this series, which explores fundamental principles for living a meaningful life. Number 2, you can also look at the maps of meaning. That is the architecture of belief, still by Jordan Peterson, where now here he dives deep into the psychological and mythological foundations of meaning. Number 3, the wisdom of crowds. The wisdom of crowds is another book by James. In that book, he explores how decentralized groups can outperform experts in decision making. Then another book is the Anti-Fragile Things That Gain from Disorder. Anti-Fragile Things That Gain from Disorder by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, which examines how systems can benefit from uncertainty and volatility. So those are books which are related or similar to Beyond Order. Books which are related to finding meaning and purpose. Finding meaning and purpose. We begin with The Man's Search for Meaning by Victor, whereby Frankl's first-hand account of finding meaning amidst the horrors of Nazi concentration camps is explained in that book. And the book is The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt. Yeah? So he blends ancient wisdom and modern psychology to explore the science of happiness. Remember, I'm giving you books that will help you find meaning and purpose, or help you learn more about finding meaning and purpose. Number 3 is The Flow. That is the psychology of optimal experience by Mihaly, whereby now the book examines the state of flow where individuals become fully absorbed into an activity. You want to flow, fully absorbed in your activity. That book is yours. Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, a Christian perspective on finding purpose in life through faith and service. Those are books that will help you if you want to find meaning and purpose. On personal responsibility and shadow integration. Personal responsibility. Number 1, I have books for you. The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown. Number 2, Ego and Archetype by Edward Edgar. Number 3, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Number 4, Inner Work by Robert Johnson. So those are 4 books on personal responsibility and shadow integration. On dangers of ideology, that's the last category that I have for you. Dangers of ideology. So we talked of should always challenge the ideologies and things that you found as beliefs. So the first book is The True Believer by Eric Hoffer. Number 2, The Open Society and Its Enemies by Karl Popper. Number 3, Sapiens. We have a book titled Sapiens, A Brief History of Mankind by Yuval Noah Harari. And another book, number 4, is The Social Animal by Elliot Aronson. So those are books, different categories of books that you can have a look into. Let me give you one biggest takeaway from this book that you can take home. I've given you 10 takeaways, but what's the main one, the biggest one that I found? So the biggest takeaway from Beyond Order is perhaps the importance of finding and maintaining a balance between order and chaos in life. That is my biggest takeaway that I found from the book. The importance. So the book is all about the importance and finding the balance or equilibrium, and also maintaining it between order and chaos in life. This balance is crucial for individual and social well-being, the societal well-being, leading to personal growth, meaning, and purpose. Think of order as a stable, predictable foundation of life. This provides structure, routine, and a sense of security. So that is what we mean when we talk of order. Stable, predictable foundations of life. It always provides structure, routine, and a sense of security. However, too much order can stifle creativity, innovation, and growth. It can lead to rigid thinking, stagnation, and a lack of adaptability. Chaos, on the other hand, represents the unpredictable, the dynamic, and the creative aspects of life. It brings new experiences, challenges us to grow, and pushes us outside our comfort zones. However, also, too much chaos can lead to instability, anxiety, and lack of direction. So the key now is to always find the sweet spot between these two extremes, these two tensions. By embracing a life that balances order and chaos, we can experience both stability and growth, meaning and purpose. So we can become more resilient, adaptable, and capable by facing life's challenges and finding our sweet spot between those two extremes. As I wind up, what are some of the ways in which you can apply the lessons that we learned from this book? How can you balance between order and chaos? For example, you can create a daily schedule that balances structure with flexibility, allow for spontaneity and unexpected events while maintaining a routine for essential tasks. You can apply that by scheduling work and leisure activities, allocating time for self-care and personal growth, and leaving room for unforeseen circumstances. How about embracing the hero's journey? For example, you want to set challenging personal goals that will push you outside your comfort zone. And you also want maybe to embrace the challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth. So those are maybe the things that you want to embrace in your journey of your hero's journey. You want to set challenging personal goals that will push you outside your comfort zone. And also you also want to embrace challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth. So what can you do? Learn a new skill, participate in a physical activity, or pursue a creative project that requires you to overcome obstacles and develop new abilities. That's so practical. How can you find meaning and purpose? For example, you want to volunteer in your community, engage in activities that benefit others, and connect with people who share your values and aspirations. Some people will find their purpose and their meaning, the fulfillment in life through that, working in the community, volunteering in their community, and engaging in activity that benefit others. So what can they do? Contribute to a cause you believe in, pursue hobbies that bring you joy and fulfillment, and cultivate meaningful relationships. How can you embrace personal responsibility? Identify areas where you can take more responsibility for your life and actions. Maybe that's what you want. You want to identify areas where you can take more responsibility for your life and actions. And you also want to maybe acknowledge your mistakes, learn from them, and make conscious choices that align with your values. What can you do? You can start by setting personal boundaries, admit your shortcomings, and take ownership of your success and failures. How can you overcome the dangers of ideology? We said that you should not be rigid. You should always question and try to find answers of why some things are done the same way. So you can read books. Seek out to read books and articles from different perspectives, listen to podcasts, and watch documentaries on various topics, and actively engage in open and honest conversations. So these are just a few of the many that we've presented in our write-up of this summary. You can go in our summary and have a look at them, have a read on them, and I am hoping that they will strike that curiosity and that desire to learn more. In the meantime, that's the end of part 2, and ultimately the end of this summary, Beyond Order by Jordan Peterson. This is the second book, and I know you've enjoyed it. I have no doubt that you've enjoyed this summary, both part 1 and part 2. And because you've enjoyed it, and I'm very sure of that, we would like to hear from you. Which part of this summary resonated with you the most? Which point resonated with you the most? Which book, among the books that you've mentioned as recommendations and even in the comparison part, which book will you pick next? Let us know in the comment section. And until next time, continue reading, evolving, and becoming better. Let's meet again in another summary as we inspire each other and continue to grow. Bye bye for now. May God bless you.